Hello and welcome to NARC Live on Wednesday the 13th of April 2022, coming to you live from Norfolk on the east coast of England with Tammy M0TC.
Hello.
And me, David G7URP. Great to be back again. On tonight's show, Springview features your pictures and videos. A quick look back to last Wednesday for NARC's first meeting in over 2 years. And we find out what on earth is this, and you've had 2 weeks to guess this, but it's puzzled many of you, I think. What do you think that is? If you haven't already sent us an email and you want to put a message on either BATC or Facebook, don't put it on an email now because that is too late, then we'll be happy to include your entry when we come to that part of the show. But first, it's one of those moments where I have to bring you some sad news of one of our members passing. Especially sad to do it like this because I know for many of you this will be the first time you've heard. So if you're a friend and you haven't heard, this will be especially sad and a shock to hear it from me. But I'm sorry to say that Peter Raven, G4KLM, sadly passed away last evening. I've got some words to go with this from his good friend Pete G6VAD. Peter started his working life with the electricity board as a linesman climbing poles, which affected his legs in later life. He met Peter in 1970 when he was in electronics department at Erie Resistor, and when he left, Peter took his job, which he just vacated, and through him he became interested in amateur radio and bought his first transceiver from him. And as a result, Sylvia and Pete became great friends with him. That's Peter and Jean. Peter eventually became manager at the department at Erie, and when a new opportunity arose, he left and joined forces with his brother-in-law, Keith, and started a business which they named Beetle Engineering, based in a barn in Smallborough, where they specialised in repairs to VW Beetles and campers until his retirement. Peter was an avid constructor and could turn his hands to most things in his extensive workshop, which varied from making jewellery, Morse keys, thumbsticks, etc. If anything could be made, he would make it. His last big project was making radio location collars for ferrets, which were used by rabbit warreners to locate ferrets up to 2 metre underground, and many of these were sent to Ireland and Australia quite regularly. He had a lifelong interest in wildlife, regularly feeding the birds, hedgehogs and foxes which inhabited his garden. After a friendship of over 50 years, Sylvia and Pete will miss him greatly and reflect upon the many happy times they spent together with Jean and Peter and the family, especially barbecues, where, as he would say, he was very happy if he had plenty of spuds. Rest in peace, our friend Peter. That's Peter G4KLM, who sadly is now silent key. So last Wednesday, for the first time in over 2 years, Norfolk Amateur Radio Club met. We met at the City of Norwich School, which was our regular home until COVID, and about 44 people we counted on the night. Maybe some people say a few more, but some less. This has got a couple of pictures, I think, Tammy, of the night. This may not look... This was fairly early on. You can see me standing there doing some announcements, actually, as I used to do. We recommended masks, but they weren't essential, although I think most people probably wore them. But there we are. It was a good turnout. I said quite a few more people turned up after that, and about 44 people. But we had a big room, lots of fresh air. The windows were open. And hopefully a good time and a safe time was had by all. The next meeting that we have in person is actually not until the 11th of May, which is our annual general meeting. And talking about that, those of you who came to that meeting, you were able to vote on Speaker of the Year and also nominate members of the committee to take the club forward over the next year, and also nominate charities. So if you didn't go, those opportunities are still there and you'll be able to do them by email. We're preparing a special email with an easy way to vote for your Speaker of the Year for the best talk that you vote for last year. And also we're inviting you to email us if you want to nominate someone for the committee or nominate a charity for the club to adopt in the next year. So watch the newsletter and on the website for details in the next few days. Now, just news as well, we've been promoting this for our fellow members of the Kings Lynn Amateur Radio Club, who tomorrow have this tabletop sale. Probably, I think, the first one, at least in this region, this year. So it's Thursday, as you can see. The doors open at 3 o'clock and they close at 9 o'clock tomorrow night with an entrance fee of £1. So plenty of time at different times to go and see. There's the details there. It's also been on our website and it will still be there if you want that address again. Postcode PE330QN. So good luck to the guys at Kings Lynn. Maybe if you don't mind, I'll mention as well that the Barford Radio Rally, a traditional favourite, is going to also return this year on the 3rd of July as well. So a date for your diary if you haven't already noted it. It's in Radcom and in PW as well, or will be very shortly. Now, finally, from me, at least at this bit, we've got a lovely picture here from John. Now, if you're presumably a lot of you are like me and Tammy, and we're doing Zoom calls and things, he's found this lovely bit of advice about how to prepare for a Zoom call. And if you have a cat or maybe another furry creature in your life, you'll know that might be a wise thing.
Cats always like to show their bums on the cameras.
They do, don't they? Yeah, we have a Saturday evening sort of dinner date with some very good friends, and we have since COVID really. And then sometimes our cat Denver puts in an appearance, and it is normally rear end first.
It is.
Anyway, thank you very much for that, John. So, little people, over to you.
Yeah, little people. We're on a food theme this week. There's obviously something going on. Here we go.
Makes me feel like we haven't had dinner yet.
I know.
Oh, right.
It's like the
Talk
walk
us through
of chocolate.
Okay.
So do you know what they are? Well, I'm going to guess, and obviously because it's Japanese.
Oh, those things. Oh, no, okay. I was going to say Twiglet. Not Twiglets.
Matchmakers.
Matchmakers, yes.
Yeah.
But they're not then, if they're Japanese, I
well,
presume.
they're probably a Japanese version of Matchmakers.
Yeah, it could be.
But, yeah. So it's a...
Still makes me feel hungry.
A drawbridge. Speaking of chocolate, I found some... I think the Easter Bunny might have come early.
Oh, good. Really?
Yeah.
Are we going to share them? I won't go very far.
No, it's the Easter Bunny.
How many people have we got watching? About 50, 60 people now watching this. All right. Anyway, that's miniature-calendar.com if you want to see pictures like that. There's a new one every day, and Tammy picks one out for us each week as well, as you know.
Yeah,
Come on, let's show everybody.
Found these on my desk earlier.
Tease them. Oh, look, I've got some.
Do you think it's the rabbit that was here at Christmas? Do you think he left them bugs?
I don't think so. He left under a bit of a cloud.
Did he?
We don't talk about him.
Okay, we don't talk about him.
A temporary stand-in. Haven't seen him since.
Have you not? Oh.
No. Have you? Anyway, we haven't got much news from you this week. I guess it's because we didn't see you last week here. But if you have got news for us, there's always, we'd love to receive it. Just send it to this address, radio@dcpmicro.com. If you can get it to us by 3 o'clock on Wednesdays, but sooner if you can, it helps us prepare and saves a last minute rush to get it on there. Just any news or pictures or anything like that, the sort of thing we cover every week. We would love to hear from you. radio@dcpmicro.com. Now, it's that, what on earth is this? I thought this was a tricky one, but there we are. Let's have a look at it anyway, Tammy. So this is from 2 weeks ago, 2 Wednesdays ago. There was a few clues in there. We left them there if you were good on your research or whatever. But anyway, I'm sure a lot of people got it under their own steam. Did we have any entries firstly?
I don't think we have. I think it looks like a cookie cutter. You could make a cookie out of that, couldn't you?
Yeah, cookie cutter. No, have we got any guesses? Lots of people watching us. No, it's great to see you all.
Any extra guesses tonight?
Okay, all right. So let's see what people wrote to us about. And the first one off the starting was Nigel 2E0NLK. It says, I think this, what on earth, could be a handle for a sewing machine. Really?
It could be, actually.
No, don't say that. It encourages them. Nev's got a lot to answer for.
Simon M0SIH, and the object featured in What on Earth Is This is a Patwin rug wool cutter used to cut wool yarn.
Okay. Bob GSTU says, this could be part of a fishing rod reel. And brackets, not a sewing machine. Right, we certainly agree there, Bob. I thought we'd done the sewing machine.
I thought we had, yeah. Colin M0GMK. This one takes me back to my 1940s childhood when my parents, in the interests of economy or scarcity, decided to make a hearth rug. My part in this was cutting the wool, used a similar cutter to this. I was paid child slave labour rates for this work, with the odd penny here and there. There were 240 pence to the pound back then, but little for a boy to spend them on because of rationing. My parents thought if they both worked on the rug together, they could finish it in half the time taken by one doing it alone. They started from opposite ends of the canvas to meet in the middle. That's when the flaw in their scheme was revealed. The nap ran in the opposite direction from each side because of the way the knots were made. Have you ever seen a hearth rug with a central parted?
I used to make that's lovely, Colin. I used to make a rug, you know. You don't know that, do you, probably?
Really?
I started making a rug. Anyway, that's for another story, probably. It didn't work, obviously, looking at me.
No.
Mervyn, MI0TMW, says, what on earth is it maybe for winding movie film reel to reel? Could be.
Tony M0TDK says, could it be a clock mainspring winder or a sewing machine bobbin winder?
And Bruce G4KZT says, I think this week's mystery object, oh no, is the handle from a sewing machine. Though it could also be a wire stripper. Yes, I love a wire stripper. Anyway, that's all the entries we've had. Bob, actually online, I've just seen Bob has put a winder for a sewing machine. You're just joining in with all the others, Bob. You just Anyway, let's see what it is. It is.
Well, it was.
Pattons and Baldwins.
Pattons and Baldwins, Patwin.
Patent rug wool cutter.
I've got a patent pending on that, lad.
You have. I love the Patwin bit, don't you? The Pat-ons and Baldwins. You can see where they got the name from. So that's what it was. So a couple of you got that absolutely right. And some of you, well, you were talking about things like sewing machines, which obviously it was nothing to do with. But anyway, thank you very much for your entries online or by email. So what have we got for them this week, Tammy?
Well, we've got something a bit different.
We worked on this together
week.
Tonight. We don't normally do this.
We'll just say we are looking for the item on the left, not the item on the right.
Yes. If you put however many pence, that is 10, isn't it?
Yeah.
That you won't get any points. So what is this? Do you know what this is? What on earth is this? You've got 1 week this time to let us know. Answers to radio@dcpmicro.com, as I said before. By 3 o'clock on Wednesdays, the absolute latest. But if you know now, send us an email now, then you remember to do it. We look forward to hearing from you. So just to tell you then, before we get on to tonight's main Springview feature, let's tell you what's happening on the club this week. On Sunday, at the GB2RS News on GB3MB at 7 o'clock. On Monday at 7:30, it's the Monday Night Net on GB3MB. Everyone welcome. And at 8:30, the 80-metre CW net on 3.543 megahertz. Again, everyone welcome, of course. And then next Wednesday here, the 20th of April, I can hardly contain my excitement because we have Anthony, K8ZT, who's going to be telling us about mixing amateur radio and trains. I know nothing more than that except the two things, as you know, are my love. And I didn't book him. So if you blame Roger G3,
so it's not
me. It's not my fault. It's not incestuous booking there that's going on. This was Roger who booked that. So all I know is we can see Anthony there, standing there in front of a big old train, probably a Hiawatha type train. Look at that. All right, that's next week. If you're interested in radio or trains, or ideally both, then you'll have fun with us. That's what's happening. Again, we're back here, NARC Live, remember. We're going to be doing that for the next 3 weeks. Back here on NARC Live. And don't forget to keep letting us know what's in your life with the radio or other news for club members. Send it to this usual address, radio@dcpmicro.com. Same for our card, which we're always happy to send out to cheer people up. Maybe a sympathy card or anything. We have another version of it for that as well. And we always send it, of course, to anybody you would like us to. Just let us know the name and address, who you would like us to send it to, and drop it to the email address at the bottom of your screen now, and we will send it within a day or so of that. Sign it from you, from us, and also, of course, on behalf of the club as well. So
I just seen a funny comment. Julian has just said, how much did you pay Roger?
Roger, oh yes, is that for booking the trains? Honestly, Roger, I'm sure will say that it was nothing to do with me, this one, but he must have known that I'd like it when he booked it. So yeah, that's next week, trains and radios. How do they combine? So now we're back. We're to tonight's Springview. This is something that we've done the last couple of years. We haven't had quite so many entries, if I'm honest, this time, but we have certainly got enough to keep us going for half an hour or so, maybe even a little bit longer. So I hope you'll stay with us, because lots of you have sent us some lovely, wonderful pictures of spring, either this year or spring's gone past. So in no particular order, if actually the order mainly in which they were sent to us, we're going to go through them all. You never know, we might even be able to go live somewhere. We've got our own. It's not just the Beeb that can do it. We've got our own outside cameras, outside broadcast cameras, that we might be able to go live to if something happens. And we've got someone who's going to text us if that does happen. But anyway, that's enough excitement building up. Probably that's a kiss of death, isn't it, really?
Yep.
Let's have a look first. And firstly, we're going to tell you about a bird, or an appeal, really, by Bob G6PWS, haven't we, Tammy?
Yep. So
he sent us this picture, and he says his wife actually sent us this picture and said, if we could ask you if you know what this is. And he says that his wife, Sue, said that it looked dazed and exhausted. That's not me, that's the bird there. But after a couple of minutes, it flew off. But that is an unusual one, isn't it? So do you know what that bird is? Can you help Bob? Answer now on BATC or Facebook, and we will read it out after reading and showing you all the other pictures that he's got as well. We might have an idea ourselves as well.
Yep.
But please let us know if you think you know what that bird is. Very unusual.
We'll come back to that in just a bit.
So I think Bob comes from Hertfordshire, so it was seen in Hertfordshire. Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, lovely.
Okay.
Okay.
So firstly, anyway, we're going to come to Peter M0VRA, who sent us a couple of pictures. Firstly, this one. He says, this is a couple of snaps of a bewhiskered female blackbird. Someone has to tidy the garden. And a female sparrowhawk devouring a young pigeon. Ooh, I don't know if I like
Ferocious, isn't it?
She ate most of it and returned the following day for the remains, which we left out for our hedgehogs, cats, mice, etc. Fantastic picture, though.
Yeah.
And then we've got one here of our wood mice. This is sparrowhawk food. He says in brackets, feasting on the blue tits peanuts. Not meant to get in there, are they? Is that in there?
It's in there, yeah.
Are they meant to get in there? You do this sort of
I
thing.
wouldn't have thought so, no. But there might be a hole at the top of that, perhaps.
Yeah, I think. Well, you know what our animals would do with that.
Yeah. Well, they just rip a hole in the bottom.
Anyway, well, more of that later. We'll show you some of ours later on. The next picture is of wooden enemies which decorate a nearby wood before the bluebells appear. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? Love spring. My favourite time of year. Favourite season. And next, would you believe it? April showers and that double reindeer. A reindeer. Rainbow. Rainbow. Not a double reindeer.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just looking on Facebook because we had a few people talking about the birds, so I just made a note of a couple of names.
We'll certainly come to those comments. Yeah, if you've got any comments or anything or any questions. We haven't got these people actually sort of here with us here at the moment. Yeah, any comments, absolutely welcome as always. Oh, we've got some people here. Yeah, see another Andy G. Yeah, I see. So we're getting suggestions about that bird.
We are, and they're all the same. But we'll come back to that in a bit.
We will do.
So
lovely to know we've got such a knowledgeable lot watching.
I know. I had to do some proper work to find out what it was.
yeah. Okay. So next up, and we will come to Bob's pictures, and when we do that, we'll show the picture again, and then we'll read your comments out. Mark G0TMT sent us these pictures. He says these are all taken last year, all very local to his home QTH, and things that he sees on his daily walks. This is real spring stuff, isn't it?
Lovely, vivid colours, aren't they?
Yeah. Does he see those on his spring walks? Wonderful. you know what they are?
They're
Are they
primroses. Yeah.
We saw them a few days ago, didn't we?
As far as my flower knowledge goes. Such lovely colours though, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I think next we've got a video actually.
This is from Mark as well, isn't
This
it?
is from Mark, so
While we play it, I'll read you what he said. He said, I shot this video the other day. I think these bees think spring is here as well. They've made their nest in the base of a tree. Lovely to see, he says. Wonderful.
excellent.
Great video as well.
It is.
Mark, thank you
Lovely.
very much indeed for sending
Thank
us all
you.
those Mark G0TMT there. Now we've got some pictures from just across the water in Northern Ireland from our member Merv MI0TMW. He sent us quite a lot of pictures here. We haven't got too many words for them, so forgive our apparent ignorance. These we think are probably primroses and other things, but we'll just show you the pictures that Merv has sent us. They're not individually labelled, so this is from County Antrim. Cullybackey is the area.
Those lovely vivid colours.
Yeah. Shows you we've got a talented lot out there as well taking these pictures. Although, of course, the modern, I'm not saying these were all taken on camera phones, but the modern camera phone now is
A heron there? Looks
takes,
like a heron.
oh yeah, possibly, yeah, takes incredible pictures, doesn't it? Even not just all the rural ones, but that's beautiful, isn't it? To see that in the sort of high street.
Yeah. Mr. Heron again?
Mm. Your favourite season as well, spring? Certainly mine.
I like summer.
It's
hot.
warm, yeah. But in terms of beauty, it is the colours and things waking up after winter. Oh, look at that. That was
Lovely sunset.
sunset, yeah.
It's different flower displays, aren't they? You don't normally see
I'm
things
amazed
like
that they seem to be in a sort of, in the fairly built-up area as well. So it's
Yeah.
nice. You don't have to go to the country to enjoy the
Not at all.
colours. That's a
Lovely.
wonderful, wonderful set of photos.
Yep.
Merv, thank you ever
Thank
so
you.
much for getting all those pictures to us. They are beautiful. Thank you. Now, a bit more local than Northern Ireland, just down the road actually from where we are sitting now in Hingham. We've got Paul G3 SEM, who sent us a couple of pictures from his garden. Here's the first. We can see the antenna mast at the back as well.
Vivid colours there as well, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's lovely.
And daffodils there, just going off the boil there now. And
There's
this
the
one,
daffodils
there,
as well.
beautiful. I love daffodils. The simple things, aren't
You
they?
know what
But
daffodils are then? You can
I
name
do
them.
know what they are. You know, I can literally one hand shows you how many flowers that I would know. But daffodils, there's just something about it. Is the start of spring, isn't it?
Are you
know,
going to
don't
tell us your
think?
daffodil story then? Have I embarrassed you by saying that?
No, you can't do that to me,
Oh, I've
Tammy.
said it now.
Live.
The people at home now need to know what your daffodil story is. Go on.
Well, when I had my first house, which was just a regular little semi-detached in Sawston, actually, that was my very first house in Sawston in Cambridgeshire. And I had a few flowers that, you know, I have never been green-fingered and still aren't, as Tammy will confirm. But it came with some flowers in the garden, and after all, daffodils, you don't need to do very much special to grow them. But anyway, they were growing and they would look beautiful, and then they started dying off. And my neighbours, who I got very friendly with, they said to me, oh, you know, now they're dying off now, you need to tie them off and tie them up for next winter. So I did. But I didn't know what they meant by tie them, so I just tied them in a knot. I thought it was somehow maybe sort of strangulated them so that the heads fell off and they grew again next year. They told me that's what I had to do to make them come back next year. I know it seems silly now to do. They took pictures. The first thing I knew about it actually was that they came out and took pictures of these daffodils, which remained straight upwards and just had a knot in the middle of the stem. And that was just a family secret, just known to my family and close friends until a moment ago, Tammy. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. I'm just
my mouth worked without my brain engaging, you know?
It's fine. I'm making a note, though. Don't worry. And one day, I shall get my revenge. Have you done anything silly like that?
Never.
No, all right then. Okay, let's have a look at what's next. Now, Bob, G6PWS, a regular correspondent to NARC Live, has sent us these wonderful pictures as well. Look at that. And he really is a master with a camera, isn't he? I don't think these are probably on a camera phone, are they? Look at that. Now, these are the latest chicks at Hatfield House. Now, this is from Hawes in North Yorkshire. We were staying with my wife's niece and on visiting the Wensleydale Creamery, noticed this hen harrier circling up the dale towards Gale. So we walked 100 yards or so and then saw it drop, possibly on food. We rounded the pathway and it saw us as we saw it, possibly asking, "What are you looking at?" We assumed it was on or near its nest there. That is a lovely, isn't it? What are you looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah, really good. But there was a notice warning not to go near any nesting birds, so then we returned back. Fantastic. The next picture from Bob. This was a robin from last year. It nested by the side of our coal bunker. Lovely to hear it sing in the morning. Very aggressive if you try to approach the nest. Actually flew at his wife one morning.
Blimey.
We've got 2 or 3 robins, haven't we? And they're very territorial.
They are, yeah. They like to have a good old fight, the robins, don't they?
Yeah, but it's still a fantastic picture. Look at the details on that. I hope you can see this at home in HD as well and see the details of this. Now this picture, Bob says again, was from Hatfield House down by the Long Water. We took grandchildren to the meadow and was sitting having a cup of coffee and heard the rustling, and this water vole appeared, stood and watched us. I snapped it as quick as I could because I had the camera out snapping the kids playing, and then it was gone. But that's another one, isn't it? What are you looking at?
Yeah, what are you looking at?
Do you know, years ago, Tammy, before your time, as many things are, there was a wonderful TV programme called Animal Magic, and a guy called Johnny Morris, he would have pictures like this up or videos as films, and he would voice over them, but he would have a different voice for every animal, and it was perfect. It was appropriate for everyone. So I don't know, I'm not a voice expert obviously, but he would just have, different, what are you looking at? I was just going down the water. And he would do that, a different voice for all these animals. And it was so appropriate. Anyway, you look it up.
Okay.
YouTube,
Animal
Johnny
Magic.
Morris, Animal Magic.
Okay.
Yeah. Other people will verify that. This is, he says, he was out. Bob said he was out walking last night and across the field noticed a roe deer bucks just standing there. And then he noticed the magpie on its back. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but you can just see a white thing on there. I know it's not a great picture, but you can see a bit of a close-up there. I stood there watching us, watching it, and once the magpie had finished picking on the poor roe deer, it was gone, and it both disappeared. Isn't that a fantastic picture, though?
It is, yeah.
Next up, a few of the birds around their feeders. Wow, they've got some. We thought we had a few feeders, but look at that. They've got more feeders than the feeder shops.
A couple of different ones there. Munching away, aren't they?
Yeah, lovely to see. Now there's a couple of videos from Bob and a fox that visits them on a regular basis. Now, this is one of those things. Oh, look at that. See, if I was Johnny Morris now, I'd be able to add a soundtrack on this.
You say? Oh yes, I'm enjoying this very much.
Yeah, really am, yes. I'm as foxy as they come.
He's a beauty though, isn't he?
He is.
Or he or she, I'm not sure.
I don't know whether Bob lives in the countryside or in a more, urban area, but isn't that incredible that you've got that sort of thing happening on your doorstep? It'd be interesting to know if Bob puts the food out for this fox or whether it's just general food out there for different animals. Oh, he's just seen something, he's off. Quick as that. Oh, is that a bone he's got there?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what it is. I saw him carrying it around. It might well be a bone.
They're wily, aren't they? And they're just, nervous about it. Oh, he's put it down.
There's some more food left out for him. It does look like
I think it's a bone, isn't it?
Or, yeah.
I don't know, Bob, if you're watching when you want to... Oh, hang on, Bob's just put... It's a sausage roll.
Sausage roll?
Is he serious?
Oh, blimey.
He is serious. So Bob's just put on Facebook, he's watching there, and he says it's a sausage roll.
Perhaps he was chewing on it then, and he spooked, and so he grabbed it and ran.
Yeah, you'd think it would go immediately, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, Bob, cracking video.
Lovely.
Cracking pictures, but cracking video of a fox eating a sausage roll. That's not something you see every day, is it? And finally, a couple of pictures, stills from Bob, I think.
Yeah.
So this is a photo of the lightning cloud. He got a good shot of lightning, then whilst watching, noticed the cloud. Remind you of anyone?
That's this one.
Now, this one. Now, look at this. Before I say it, what Bob put, and when I tell you that, you'll say, oh, yes. Do you think that looks like a silhouette of any face that you know? Maybe, okay, a little clue coming now. What about Mr. Hitchcock? Should have been birds in it, really. The Birds.
Yeah.
It's a horror film. I reckon he's right. That does look very weird, doesn't it? Anyway, Bob, as always, brilliant pictures from you. Thank you ever so much for all those. Now,
I've got 3 pictures of the mystery.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, now this is the
Yeah.
question that your wife Sue asked us to ask everybody, and we have had some answers.
We have.
So, firstly, on BATC, Simon M0SIH says the bird is a hoopoe.
Hoopie.
Or hoopie, do you think?
Hoopoe? I don't know.
He spelled it Hoopoe. It's quite rare in British gardens, he says. And we've got a few others who've come back with some really good information as well.
Here. Phil, Roy, John, Andy.
Oh, well, let's read them all out.
Colin.
Let's be fair to everybody for entering. This is really knowledgeable guys here. Oh, yep. Phil Hillier said the bird is a hoopie, or hoopoe, if I've got that wrong. Roy Reed says, is that a hoopoe? Not sure about the spelling. John 2E0TWQ says, hoopos are colourful birds found across Africa, Asia and Europe, notable for their distinctive crown of feathers. 3 living and 1 extinct species are recognised, though for many years all the extinct species were lumped as a single species. And I'll leave to my pronunciation expert to read the other one.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you very much for that, John. Andy M0NKR says the hoopie or hoopoe bird, usually found in the Mediterranean. And he said that he used to see them when I lived in ZB Gibraltarland. And Phil has come back and said the hoopoe usually migrates each spring from North Africa to Southern Europe. I guess his brakes didn't work. And Bob has come back. Bob G6BWS says the wife, that's Sue, thanks them all. So there we are, Bob. And Tammy, you looked it up as well, and you did a bit of research, and that's what you found, isn't it?
Yeah, it did. I didn't know what it was, obviously, because I don't know very many birds. But I've got an app, and if you put in significant colour and things like that,
oh, I see. Really?
It came up with it. So,
I was thinking you were very knowledgeable.
No.
Now you've told me it's your phone that does all the thinking.
Yeah, it was. It's quite a good app actually. If you put in something and you see like it's got a distinctive colour somewhere on its head or its breast or wing or something like that. You can put it in and it'll narrow down a selection.
So did that narrow that down from
it did
seeing
actually,
that picture then?
Because I then looked for it in the bird book I got and it wasn't in there, but it's because it's not a British species, but it was
Of
on
course,
my
yeah.
app. So
Do you remember what the app's called? Just to, we don't mind mentioning something if we're not bound by advertising rules on a national broadcaster, so we can say, well, Tammy looks that out.
It's called iBird UK Pro.
Okay, this is on an iPhone, but it might be available on Android as well and other ones. What is it called?
Yep. iBird UK Pro.
iBird UK Pro.
And then
looks good.
That's the hoopy.
That was the message.
Where is it? Which camera? There you go. That was the information I got for it.
Very good. If you can enter clues
and
things
like that of it.
But no, you've just blown it as I'm thinking you're smart about birds. And
yeah,
things.
I'm not. No.
Anyway, really good. It saves looking through a book, I guess, like that.
It wasn't in the book.
Quicker. Really? Oh, because it wasn't British. No, okay. Well, anyway, Bob and Sue, I hope that helps. Thank you very much again for your pictures and your video. Wonderful stuff. Now, next we have a video from someone who we know loves doing this sort of thing. Lots of tech. The most high-tech garden. You remember seeing it at Christmas? When we saw the Christmas decorations, the most high-tech one, well, at least that we were sent. Well, James M0UKS and Lynn M7SOON, I know that's not a call sign, but we're hoping, has sent us this wonderful video. So if you want to make a cup of tea, well, no, don't go and make a cup of tea now because you'll miss this. Have a look at this. Just enjoy and sit back. I'll shut up and watch this wonderful video and we'll have a little drink ourselves. Here we go.
Hello, this is James, M0UKS. This is Springview 22, and I'd like to introduce you to the team down in South Norfolk. First up is Sid, aka Sid the Squatter. For those who don't know, Sid's a great tit, and when I first turned the cameras on back at the beginning of January to check them, I found Sid had actually been sitting there squatting all winter. Sid's interests are Kung Fu, and as you can see, if you want a nest bad enough, I guess you've got to learn to defend it. Here you can see even Sid's trying to learn Morse. Sid lives in the larger of the nest boxes, and here's a picture from last year that shows you how thick a nest can actually be. Next up is Blue. As the name suggests, Blue is a blue tit. Lives in the smaller of the two nest boxes, which is up behind the waterfall. It always amazes me how much effort birds put into building nests, and here's a few video shots of exactly that. As you can see, we built a hedgehog feeding station, and let me introduce you to the hedgehogs we've got. Here's Daisy, Prickles, Raindrop, Sonic, Spike and Spot. I'd like to show you 40 minutes activity in our garden, speeded up from last week. I hope you enjoy it. and just to prove hedgehogs can play nicely, 73 from Lynn and James.
Wow.
What can you say?
Amazing, isn't it?
It was amazing, both amazing photography and gadgetry, and fantastic. Thanks very much to Lynn and to James as well for putting that together. We didn't do anything of that. We do try and spruce up images and things like that, add caption things, but nothing to that extent there. So well done. They did the whole film. So thank you ever so much, James and Lynn, for sending that to us. Now, they are the ones you might have guessed that are live, standing by. We're on a little Zoom call that I've got down here. They've got all their cameras in their garden. They're monitoring them all. And if we're fortunate enough to see anything special happening before we finish the programme, we're going to be ready to go live. He's going to text us and we're just going to be able to instantly go live. So just a warning, really, that that might happen. They do say that their hedgehogs don't normally come till about 9 o'clock. And they have a late dinner.
Yep.
But anyway, if they do come early or we see anything, we'll go back to James. If you've got any questions, by the way, for James and on that sort of things, it isn't they aren't the regular sort of cameras that are used for this sort of thing, but he's adapted them, I think, and we can go to him. So if you've got any questions for James or Lynn, who do all of that live with their garden all the time, then drop them on a message, and we'll be very pleased to go to him and ask your questions on your behalf. Ricardo's, by the way, has put Sonic Hedgehogs, which I think is right, isn't it?
Yep.
Fantastic to see.
They were getting pretty quick, weren't they?
Yeah. So we'll see if you've got anything for James or Lynn, and we'll be happy to go to them live as well. So let's now, though, go to the next person who sent us a load of pictures, and that was Steve, G3 EVA. These are wonderful pictures as well. Have a look at this. Oh, what's
Spring
this?
Watch.
It's Springview, even.
Oh, Springview.
Springview. No, has he got the wrong idea?
I think you might have done.
He didn't read the memo. Oh dear. Anyway, thank you, Steve. Yes, Springview, that certainly is.
Anyway, more appropriate picture this time.
He sent us these as well. These are all from Steve.
Lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose it just depends how the clouds are sitting, doesn't it, when the sun goes
He
down
just says
as to
spring
how it
sunrise.
hits up.
Absolutely, yeah. You've got to be there at the right time. What's amazing is how quickly
like
changes.
within like 1 minute can be really different, can't it?
Yeah. And this is called Stormy Monday.
Oh dear.
Oh, what's this? Hang on, let's look on the script here. This is what he calls Singer View. No, it's Springview, not Singer View, Steve. All right, thank you for that, but I don't think we need that. Can we move on, Tony, please? Now, this is a spring puppy at East Runton. You see the sand behind him there? That's Alfie, of course.
There's another one of Alfie.
Oh, look
enjoying
at
the
that.
spring flowers.
Do you know what? Can you get a dog that's a poser? Because I think...
I think he might be.
Yeah. What's about the next picture, Tammy? I think this is the one I looked at as well. I thought, yeah, he is well trained, isn't he? And
He
just
is.
said, yep,
He's a good boy.
very photogenic, lovely picture. And these are tulips that
Lovely
Steve sent us
tulips.
as well. Yeah, again, the colours. Hope you've seen these in as lovely colours we're seeing here. And finally, from Steve, the spring sunset.
Lovely.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Steve, G3EVA,
Thank you.
you ever so much for sending all those to us as well. Even the spring one, and, well, we won't mention the machine one, if you know what I mean. Now, Tony M0TDK has sent us a video. So let's have a look at this, and I'll read out what he's put. Not had much luck photographing wildlife, but attached is a video made from various clips taken about a year ago. These were shot from inside my kitchen with my iPhone, except for the first bit, which was taken next to the fence you see in the rest of it. The shaking camera is due to Bertie, my Jack Russell, who was on a lead and trying hard to chase the deer. He says if any other pictures show up, he's going to send them on to us. He's got that there's a large white barn owl that lives locally, plus a pair of marsh harriers, but taking their picture has so far eluded him. That is lovely though, isn't it? You look like you've got about as much grass as us to cut, Tony.
Not bothered, are they? They just...
No. And these
munching
phones are
away.
great for taking pictures.
I know deer can be a nuisance on the roads and that, but they are just lovely to watch.
Yeah. Not quite so lovely when you watch them eating your roses sometimes, Tony. What do you think? Anyway, Tony, thank you ever so much indeed for that wonderful bit of video there. Now, we've gone Norfolk, we've gone Hertfordshire, we've been Northern Ireland, now we're going right north of the border.
We got Scotland.
To Ralph 2M0 RHT. And he sent us these pictures. Firstly, his question is, who lives in a house like this?
I think it may be lived rather than
Or
lived.
maybe, yeah, I guess. Now, the next slide will give us a clue. It's James Clerk Maxwell, and it's known as Glenlair House. And you can read the other bits and pieces there that he sent us. Very proud of James Clerk Maxwell is Ralph. He's brought him up several times in our programme over the years. And then some other pictures that he sent us. Now this is called Sheep Bingo. I wonder why. It could be like that, couldn't it?
Could be, couldn't
Could
it?
be truly random.
Yep.
And the second one, the caption is, "This is my mummy."
The Highland Coos, those ones, aren't they?
Highland Coos.
Highland Coos.
This picture, this is not my words. This is his. This is a load of bull. And this is staggering.
His mouth looks funny. He's like grinning at you.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh yeah, I know what you're doing.
This one is the horn section, so Ralph says.
I think that's a Highland cow, isn't it? Actually.
I reckon so. And these are grown in his garden, he says.
Oh.
So it's funny, you wouldn't think you could grow plastic, would you? You just undo that little screw bit on the top of the jiff. No? It's a real one.
I was in IKEA the other day and they had lemon trees for sale. I didn't know you could buy lemon trees. Really?
Well, we could
or that
try,
they would
I
actually
suppose.
grow.
You'd think they need a lot of sun, wouldn't you? They're sort
a
of
lot
a
of
tropical type of fruit, but okay.
Yeah.
He says, this is almost midnight in my back garden in midsummer. So we cheated a little bit and skipped forward to summer from last year. And finally on this little one is a fishy tail, he says.
Dear.
And now we've just got a load of random pictures that he just says various wildlife. So let's have a look at these. All of these come from Ralph 2M0 RHT from Dumfriesshire. And while we watch these, Tony M0 TDK has given us a little bit of extra information. His family name is Clerk Maxwell. Born James Clerk, the Maxwell was added later. So there we are, James Clerk, but the Maxwell was added later. I know that Ralph sent us a message actually. He said he couldn't join us live tonight, but I'm sure he'll fill us in on that. That's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
That really looks like he's just going to pick that up.
Caught red-handed,
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely.
Is the, There's another one saying, "What are you looking at me for?"
Got a picture now? Move on.
I'll pose for you.
I will honestly find a bit of animal magic for you, Tammy, because you would love it. Thinking about how you love animals, you would love this particular program.
It's a
You
woody.
know what that is? A woody pedpecker. We've got one of those, haven't we?
We have. Here comes some visits our bird feeder. There's some little eggies. That's strange on sort of like slate, isn't it? Or gravelly.
Yeah, it doesn't look the right sort of place to nest,
No,
does it? Or
no.
lay eggs.
And we've got a couple of signs next, I think.
Okay.
A couple of public
These are public information notices. We'll let you take this one in. It says, share the driving. Let your wife drive home. And the second one is, be considerate when leaving your mother-in-law in the car. Park in the shade. You could just hear him say that. He said it much better than me, wouldn't he? In his dry, wry Scottish way.
Yeah.
Ralph, thank you ever so much for all those lovely pictures. Thank you.
There is a
Yes, I saw that comment. I was just going to read that.
Are you going to read that?
So Julian 2E0DJR says, a little story. We had a bird table in the front garden and a hawk similar to the one with the pigeon. The hawk hit the pigeon on the table with a little house on it, smashed the table and the little house. Oops. When it hit the pigeon. I have some photos. Remembered it when I saw the one shown before. Lovely.
I remember we were sitting here in your office once, and this pigeon was sitting on the tarmac, and all of a sudden this must have been a hawk or something.
Yeah,
whipped down and grabbed it.
I mean, a pigeon, big thing.
Yeah.
Quite alarming that was, wasn't it? All right, let's go back to our list now, and we've got Roger G3LDI. He sent us some pictures from his garden. So this one is, he says that he's had a great show of hyacinths this year.
Lovely, aren't they? Lovely colours.
Now this one, he said, is his visiting mallard pair. They usually nest on the pond, so I guess from that he means they come every year.
Yeah, little babies. That'd be nice. Little ducklings.
And next, these are called Russian snowdrops.
Lovely.
Now the next one is called Magnolia stellata. Now this, no, it's not. We're not looking at the aerial. We are a radio club, and I know that's what we normally look at with that picture. But this is a visiting buzzard who stayed in the garden for a week or so, and we thought we'd seen one, didn't we?
Well, we've got buzzards around here. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's wonderful to see. It could actually capture it because we haven't managed to capture a picture.
No.
We've tried.
Yeah. Lovely.
And next up, there we are. It's just a picture, overall view of my rose beds. Can you help with this pronunciation, Tammy?
Where are we?
Trachycarpus fortunae?
Yeah.
Do you think that's right?
Yeah, there you go.
In the front beds. Finally, there's something that I haven't got. Before you say it. Yes, it's a hare.
A Mad March hare.
And finally, this is Lexi feeding sheep. Wonderful stuff.
Lovely.
Roger, G3LDI, thank you ever so much for sending all those to us. Now, we're going to share with you some pictures. I'm keeping an eye on this picture here because down here I've got a monitor and I'm just watching out for anything live that might happen. But anyway, we're going to show you a few of our pictures now. And last year we had a bit of a problem with our house. Well, more specifically, our roof. Because we were, I don't know quite how we noticed this, but we started to see rather a lot of bees or wasps flying around. And you do see this sometimes, don't you? And sometimes wasps and things can get in your loft. But we realised after a little while these weren't wasps, these were bees, and specifically they were honeybees. And although that might sound wonderful, obviously we don't really want them in our roof where we're living. Well, not we live in the roof, I mean we live in the house, but you know what I mean. So we didn't really know what to do except that we should do the right thing. And we contacted and we found out that there was somebody called the Barefoot Bee Man. And we contacted him and he came and had a look and confirmed they were indeed bees and they were nesting in our roof. and that he would remove them for us. So we thought it would be fun at the time, and this is last summer, to do a video of this. And here is that video. Now I'll just explain now that we did have lots of scaffolding put up. He would have needed scaffolding anyway, but we had to have our roof repointed. So fortunately we managed to do the two things.
Wow.
These are some still picked. Wow, look at that. Tammy, you were there as well. I mean,
Yeah.
extraordinary. And we reckon this happened in a very short time, don't we?
Yeah.
And he's brushing the bees out there, believe it or not.
By the next morning.
It's becoming more and more interesting as time goes on, because as the time passes, more of them fan her smell into the air. So more of them are realising exactly where she is.
Talk about the queen
So is
bee.
the queen inside that box now?
Oh, she should be, yeah, she should be.
Is the queen much different to the rest of them to
A
look
little
at?
bit bigger. Her abdomen's about twice, 3 times the length.
Wow.
Thing is with the queens that normally they can't fly. They have to slim down to be able to fly off. So she's probably going to be quite plump and unable to.
And that was the box that,
That
it
was
was
the
all
box
put
the
in.
next morning. And
that's
they were all
the-
in there.
And he was very
He took
good,
them
I have
away.
to say. And I believe there are not many people who do this. I mean, I know that the temptation might be, oh, I don't want bees in my loft, and we'll stick something up there or whatever. But we felt we merely must do the right thing. I've got to be honest and say you do have to pay them to do this as well. But it is something, it's certainly the right thing to do. I guess if, being honest though, the ideal thing is to make sure they don't nest in the first place. As I said, we did need some work done on our roof. It just brought it forward enormously and quickly, and we're very
Yeah.
grateful for, you know, that we were able to combine the two things, so it didn't really cost us as much as normal. But anyway, that was that, and we recorded it, we filmed it at the time, and we've waited for a right opportunity to bring it to you. So I hope that's been interesting to you. You can find, by the way, the Barefoot Bee Man. You can find him on Facebook, and I guess you can find him. He's sort of South Norfolk way, and you can probably find him by googling him as well. So next, now we've got some more pictures, Tammy. I don't know if we've got anything. Just watching the.
Yep, I've got a few pictures here.
Yeah, so Tammy, you took over these
Stuff.
because you took all these pictures. I
I
think.
did, yeah. Just a bunny snoozing in the back garden. This is our regular Cyril the squirrel.
Yeah,
who,
what you're really saying is this is our bird feeder.
yeah, this is our squirrel feeder that we have with Cyril helping himself. We've got quite a funny jackdaw. No, this is Jack and Bob. Bob's the one with the bit. Why are you
Well, because you
laughing?
give them all names, and I just never know. They just
Well,
look like birds to
It's
me.
Jack
But anyway,
and Bob, this is.
Okay.
So, but Bob's a little bit unusual because Bob's got some white feathers. And I did just capture a blurred picture of him in flight. He's got one white feather. And I Googled it because I thought, I've never seen a jackdaw with a white feather before. And it's actually a genetic condition which affects pigment called leucism. Or I don't know if I pronounced that right, leucism. And it can make even just one feather or quite a lot of feathers that are not the right colour pigment. They go white, which I thought was quite interesting.
it is.
Here's a bunny who's looked like he's asleep on the job.
Oh, I love that.
Here's Cyril again. He came close to the window this afternoon, so I thought
He did well.
say hello to him. There's Percy the pheasant, helping himself to the fat blocks, as you do. I don't know what was going on here this afternoon. I think they just run across in front of each other. I'm not sure they
We
were.
don't often see pheasants in the garden, do we? It's only the last week.
Oh,
or
they
so.
quite often come to the bird feeder. He
Yeah.
comes when you're not looking. And here's Cyril again, just doing
Acrobatics.
acrobatics. He just likes to hang like that. There's a hole in the bottom of it, which they've made, and the jays come and the squirrels come. We've got 3 squirrels, and they all like to help themselves. He's got a nut in his mouth there. He was deciding whether to eat it or to run and bury it somewhere, and in the end he just decided to sit and eat it. And the last thing I've got for you is a little video of our 2 deer. They don't have names, actually. I probably should give them a name. I think all the deer is just called Bambinos.
That's what you call them, isn't it? Yeah.
But this is our male and female.
Yeah, we're very lucky. This is at the
jacks.
front of our house, sort of just opposite our dining room, so we can sit and have breakfast and sometimes see this sort of thing going on. Just not quite so nice when you see them eating our roses, but
No,
there
we
we
haven't
are.
really got many roses yet.
No,
not in
it's lovely
bud,
to
so,
see. We're very lucky, aren't we?
just hopping away. They just saunter around. They're not worried too much. You can go outside when they're there, and they'll sort of freeze a bit and check you out. And they don't always necessarily run off.
And we can even drive in at night, late at night, and we can see them just hiding underneath but we just see their eyes normally. We switch the car off just before the headlights
Yeah, they
go off.
just sit under the hedge,
So
and they're not worried
they
about
can't,
you getting
yeah.
in and out. So that's good.
It's wonderful. Well, we haven't got any notification of any hedgehogs yet coming live from James and Lynn, but we have got notification that they've got Sid and Blue nesting. So we can now go live over to Hardwick in South Norfolk and have a look at the pictures from there, I think, James. So if you could share your screen with us, and we can come to you. We can hear you as well now, by the way.
Hello.
Oh, right. Oh, that's not working, is it?
Not at the moment, no.
Give it a second. For some reason,
That always
This is-
happens.
It's all right.
oh no. Right, for some reason, this has got confused. Give me a sec. Would you like to talk for a second or so?
I'll try. Okay. Well, we just thought we've had James sitting there since we started the programme because we thought there might be something happen live. And maybe we'll see some stuff in a minute, hopefully, because we did see some pictures on preview a moment ago. And then we'll come to James again. But it would be lovely to see them if we can see them live. I hope you're all doing okay at home. I mean, as we've explained once before and shown you, so we didn't want to just sort of show it to you all again. But James uses some closed-circuit television cameras. I think most of them are IP cameras, so that means they talk via the internet. He's built a server as well that records the pictures from these, but it does mean as well that he can monitor these from anywhere. Of course, most people with CCTV cameras at home would use them for, just security applications and things like that. But
They're a different type of intruder, aren't they?
they are a different type of intruder, and there's a lot of them as well. We can ask him in a minute how many cameras he's got. I'm hoping that we'll be able to go to him anyway. It's always the way, isn't it? And we saw it all working a little while ago. So
Yeah.
knowing James, he's probably rebooting his system in a minute, and then we can ask him about the cameras and things that he's got. I don't know whether any of you at home have got that, whether showing James's setup, I suppose it was a year ago now, inspired any of you to do something similar and connect up cameras. But he certainly shows that you can get a lot out of a modern CCTV camera that years ago would have just shown intruders, as we said. And we can now go live, I think, as well. So can we show that, Tammy?
We can.
So this is now from James M0UKS and Lynn's garden. James, would you like to talk us through what we're seeing?
Hear me? Have you got audio
Yeah,
from me?
we can hear
We
you.
have, yes.
Okay. This is Sid, who's obviously a great tit. You saw him in the video earlier on. And if you notice, he's all fluffed out now and ready for bedtime. So obviously birds fluff their feathers out to give themselves a bit of an eider down like we do when we go to bed. We've got no hedgehogs at the moment, but I could just...
Can we just go to see the live, your wonderful...
Which one would you like, David?
View. Well, whichever you think is best. I mean, to show Hog's Diner, I guess, as well. Is
Oh, is that blue?
Oh, that's blue.
Oh,
Is
there's
it blue? there? Sorry.
Have you
Yeah.
got any? Have you got any eggs yet, James? I don't mean
No.
personally. I mean in the nest box.
No,
You just got-
Easter eggs. You're talking about Easter eggs?
Yeah, Easter eggs.
No, I checked today, and neither of them have laid any eggs at all yet. It's a little bit early yet, so but they're obviously very broody because they're both nesting in their little nests, but no eggs yet.
And from the video we saw earlier, James. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut over you. We saw that as an empty box. Start life as an empty box, and you were able to see it building up the nest from nothing, weren't you?
It's wonderful. And when they're actually, the pair of them, obviously, Sid, there's obviously two birds anyway. One stays over there at night. Same with Blue, there's two birds building the nest, their nest. But it's wonderful to actually watch them running in and out of there. The first time I put a nest box up with a camera in, I actually thought I'd be kind to them and put some, some sawdust in there, some wood chips and everything. And I thought, that'll start their nest off. First thing they did was got in there and they emptied the whole box of all over the garden, literally. They obviously didn't want to dump it just outside the nest so it didn't attract things to their nest. But so anywhere you went in the garden, there was some wood chip, basically. So as I say, never bother helping them out because they'll always find their own stuff.
Yeah.
It normally starts with moss and that sort of stuff. So all good. But no hedgehogs yet because unfortunately it's a little bit early for hedgehogs because they're night owls, aren't they?
Yeah.
But we did see them all earlier on in your video, and I mean, essentially, I guess it would be a similar picture. But it's lovely to just go live like this. James, just for those of people who've not seen when we first did this with you before, and you talked about the cameras and things you use, can you just give a quick overview of the camera that you use for this and the sort of rough costs that are involved if you were to want to buy one of these sort of cameras to watch live?
Right, they're IP cameras. They come in at various prices. I think you can pick up little cheap ones for about £25, £30 nowadays.
Really?
Depends on the quality you want. Most of them take SD cards on them. Obviously, the ones for the bird boxes and hogs, obviously I've refocused those cameras because normally they're obviously designed for security cameras and not designed to see something only a few inches in front of them.
Yeah, can we have? Sorry to interrupt again, but could you have a look at Sid because I think he's moving.
Sid's moving around a bit.
And we just
in
thought
the
that
top
might
left
be nice.
there. Or is he just having a dream?
He does. If you watch him, he will sort of get up, give himself a little bit of a flap sometimes. He's having a good dream.
So, and again, James, just for the benefit of those watching who don't know too much about these sort of cameras, so we talked about an IP camera, which basically means it sits on the internet like other devices in your home, doesn't it? Do they connect via Wi-Fi, or do you have to plug a cable between that and your router?
Most of them will do both. So you can either plug it straight into your network, which you get a better connection for. The bird boxes and hogs all connected over Wi-Fi because of cabling, but you still need to run them off 12 volts, so you will need some sort of cable out there to get power to them. There are some on the market now that are actually solar powered, but I've never tried one myself, so I couldn't tell you how good or bad they are really. But and as I say, if you want to put them in a nest box, Sid's was sort of quite elaborate. There's a box on top covering the camera up, but as you saw from the video, Blue's camera is literally, I built a bird box, drilled a round hole in the top of it, put the camera just through the top and sealed it all up. And obviously, for close work, as I said again, you have to take the camera to bits and adjust the lens, just like you would focus on a camera on your SLR camera or something like that.
I mean, you do make it sound remarkably easy, but I mean, is it really that easy? So for, say, certainly under £50, I could buy a camera, off-the-shelf camera, and as long as I could get it via Wi-Fi range, you just need to give it 12 volts, which most of us radio amateurs have got, of course, and put this in the top of a bird box and see these sort of pictures. Obviously, you need to set this up before nesting season.
Yes, it's a learning curve and getting the focus just right. I tend to obviously work out how far with the nesting box. So when you work out sort of your distance, I normally stick a book or something with some letters on it with the camera at the correct distance that I want, and then I'll just focus it to the letters. So if you've got some words on a piece of paper, it's a lot easier to focus in on them. And bear in mind that the nest, as you saw from the picture, the nest as actually comes up. So don't take your focusing distance to the bottom of the nest box, because it will be slightly higher than that because of the nest.
Yeah, it's incredible, really. And just again, for those not familiar with this sort of camera technology and things, it's showing black and white at the moment because it's working under infrared, which means basically it doesn't see any colour, does it? It just sees, essentially, it's seeing heat from infrared. But other pictures that you've got from some of your other cameras, I mean, they are colour, aren't they?
Oh, they're colour cameras, but as I say, at night they're infrared. Perfect for a nest box because I'm not disturbing the bird. He or she thinks it's night time, so they're quite happily having their sleep, and we can watch their journey and without disturbing them, can't we?
Yeah, I think just the other thing I wrote down earlier was it's interesting to see that you had sound on them. Very often when we see wildlife films and things, even on television, professionally produced, they don't have any sound, this sort of thing, anyway, in a nest box. And your video of the one doing Morse code showed very well that having sound can add another dimension as well. Do most of these cameras have sound? Oh, look, it's moving there.
So you'll have a little move round, a little sort of tidy up of his fur. I have just seen a purple light come on. I've got motion sensors. Sorry, I should explain that. I've got motion sensors around the yard, and I have a couple of lights inside the house that actually come up different colours depending on which motion sensor is triggered. And something's triggered at the bottom end of the garden, so we might sort of have a little visitor shortly. I don't know.
That sounds nice. Okay. Well,
he's having a real good go see it, didn't he?
Yeah.
We were just talking about sound, James. Most of these cameras have got... No, that's okay. That's great. I mean, we'll be ready. We're in your hands about coming to you live.
The older IP cameras never had sound on, but newer ones now have sound on them. Mm-hmm. Being out in the weather and all that, the microphones can deteriorate. Oh, hang on. I'm just going to... my light's just gone...
Oh, Hog's Diner.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Right on cue.
He obviously got your text message you sent.
Oh, excellent.
So this is live. As you watch this now at 8:45 p.m. on Wednesday, the 13th of April. This is live pictures. And I know it's similar to the video we saw earlier, but it's nothing like seeing it live and they've come in for an early dinner.
Yeah. And he looks happy to be eating it.
He does, doesn't he?
I think
it's the little eyes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Little half shut, and you think, oh, he's like really enjoying that.
Yeah. It's hedgehog biscuits.
We're so lucky to see this live. I think.
And if you notice on their nose, it's quite sort of a big wet nose, isn't it? But hedgehogs can smell tremendously well. They can actually smell creatures underneath the soil, so they can actually dig down and actually obviously feed on them.
Wow.
So sense of smell is brilliant. I mean, I'm a bit mad and I like to buy them hedgehog food, but cat biscuits is fine. They love cat biscuits. The only thing I would suggest is keep away from fish, cat biscuits and that sort of thing, because obviously what comes out of the other end can smell a bit more with cat biscuits.
And is there anything that they shouldn't have anyway because of their diet that could become toxic to them?
Yeah, milk.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Milk?
They're lactose intolerant, so obviously if you fed them milk, then you'd have several messes in your garden. Yeah.
Well, and not do the hedgehog any good either.
Exactly.
That's definitely. Thinking back as a kid, that I'm sure that it was a thing that you'd think, I'll put a saucer of milk out for the hedgehog.
Well, you did for a cat as well, didn't you?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Cats
They
are
don't like
lactose
it.
intolerant as well.
They're quite happy with water. After they finish here, we've got some plant pots outside, and we'll put big saucers on the bottom of them. so they can actually drink out of the saucers, and they love drinking just the water out of them. So
We've
then
got
they're-
actually a message for you, James, from Julian2E0DJR. Says, what does James feed them on? I guess we've partly answered that now. What is this food that we're looking at now specifically? Is this cat biscuits?
No, that is hedgehog food.
Right.
Yeah.
And where would you get that from?
We buy at our local garden centre.
Sure.
And I think it's about £4 something a bag.
Yeah.
So, the way he's munching, it won't last very long.
I was going to say, I think it's fair to say that he's enjoying it.
Does it clean out the whole bowl every night?
Well, they all do. You'll find that he'll disappear, might go outside, have a drink, then come back and have another little feed. But as I say, I've got the camera set up in here to send me still photos when actually it's triggered.
Yes.
I went looking through, obviously, all my photos of all the hedgehogs, and as far as I know, we've got 6 different hedgehogs that visit the garden. There may be more, but I worked out that definitely from the markings and that sort of thing, there's 6. So obviously, we don't always get 6 every night, but we might get 3 or 4, and after 3 or 4 hedgehogs visiting us, that bowl's always empty every morning.
Do you ever have any other animals visit your feeding station?
We had, right, that's where the feeding station started in the first place. We used to leave the bowls underneath the bird table, and then we had cats visiting us saying, oh, that's a nice feed. Yeah. So I built the feeding station, but we still have had this year a kitten, a younger cat came into the garden and managed to get into the feeding station.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Now, I was thinking, how did they get in there? Yeah. But after looking at the footage, it was a kitten, so obviously it could feed through there. But he or she has only visited once.
We've just got still. Oh no, it's all right. It's starting to move. Sorry, James. We just freeze for a moment, but we've got it back. So I think that's just wonderful. Can you just give us another view of all those cameras that you've got at home? Do you mind? We don't want to lose that picture really, but it's just wonderful to see him eating. Oh look,
that's 9 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blue is
top
moving,
right
yeah.
is the top right is actually a camera in the tree, but we've had no visitors this year in the tree. But there are a couple of mushrooms growing in the tree. If you wonder what they.
Yeah, I did wonder actually. Well, it is wonderful again to come to both your garden there. It's inspirational, I think, to people that you could do it at a relatively low cost and fairly simply. And I guess if anybody would like to do this, and presumably you'd be happy to share with them what make cameras you use, a bit of advice.
If anybody gets stuck, just they can either contact you and you can put them in contact with me or something like that. Or obviously my contact should be on the club website anyway.
That's right. So if this has inspired you and you'd like to know a bit more about how James did this and how they do it, James and Lynn, then just drop us a line to our usual radio@dcpmicro.com address, and we will send James a message. There we are. There it is on the bottom of the screen there. We don't want to interfere with their feeding or anything anymore. But thank you very much again, James and Lynn from Hardwick in South Norfolk, for sharing the pictures from your fantastic video system. It's intriguing to see the sort of intruders that you get. I hope it might catch burglars as well if ever that happened.
I've trained the hedgehogs to attack.
Absolutely, yeah. Although I think they'd have had to have a good feed first. James and Lynn, once again, thank you very much indeed.
You're more than welcome. Take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye, Lynn.
Bye.
There we are. To see it live was really good, and we did sort of string it out a bit because we were told by James and Lynn that it would be quite late on if they came at all. So we were lucky to see that. That was absolutely live. Spring Watch, yeah. NARC Watch, we've done it, haven't we? Thank you to all of you for sending everything that you have for us tonight, because it's really been intriguing, I think, for all of us to see such wonderful photography. I know it isn't strictly speaking amateur radio, but occasionally we let ourselves indulge in something that isn't strictly speaking amateur radio. We're a club of people, after all, that have other interests, and it's nice occasionally to diversify. But next week, of course, as you know, we'll be mixing amateur radio with trains, so another hobby, I guess, with Anthony K8ZT. That's on next Wednesday here on NARC Live at 7:30. Plus, of course, on Sunday we've got the GB2RS News on GB3MB repeater at 7 o'clock, and 7:30 the Monday Night Net on GB3MB as well, and at 8:30 the CW Net on 3.543 megahertz on Monday as well. We hope to see you next Wednesday night. As usual as well, we do welcome you to send your messages, stories, pictures, or anything else at all for us, and we'll share them at the beginning of the programme as always. But for now, it just remains for Tammy and me to wish you a very happy Easter and say Easter eggs yet. Can we open these yet?
Yeah, I'm going to open it in a minute.
Really?
Am I allowed to? No, I've
That's
got
the
to
way to
wait.
Easter, doesn't it, I think?
Okay.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week. So from Tammy M0TC
Bye-bye.
and from me, David G7URP, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.